Good morning. So I guess you decided to stop by today, and I appreciate that, to hear my story about the day that I saved my daughter's life, or both of my daughter's lives. I, as you all know, I think that I've expressed on a couple occasions, or a few, that I'm an advocate for being an open book and kind of, this is my son's Mickey Mouse blanket. I'm cold. Being an open book and kind of just sharing a bit about yourself or sharing your story to people or to others in hopes of maybe helping someone else. Or at least that's my intention. Sometimes people can get the wrong idea and they think that your intentions are to get attention or to continuously play the victim. When in fact, I'm well aware of the fact that I don't, go through that certain situation anymore. But it's never going to take away from me being an advocate for people who may be in, the situation that I'm speaking of, or, other situations that I can relate to, because, I just feel like we go through things to help other people. I really do. And I think I've been through a good amount of things. And I can probably maybe help one or two people, maybe more. I really think that is the reason why, we go through things in life. It is to help other people. So, with that being said, I'm going to tell you guys a story about the day that I saved my daughter's life. I remember the day. It was sometime in October or November. It was a rainy day. It was pretty cold. And a lot of weird events kind of happened that day. Just random stuff that I look back on now and I'm just okay. Anyway, but that'll come a little bit later. So it was a rainy day. It was cold, sometime October, November. I remember because my middle child, my baby girl, Jaden, was only about 6 months. And so sometime in October, November-ish. Anyway, so we had just finished eating lunch. We were at my parents' house and we were eating lunch, and it was me and my parents, my ex-husband, my daughters, and my ex-husband's nephew or cousin. I'm still trying to figure that one out, but he was maybe around the age of 8 or 9. It was a little boy who had just kind of randomly popped up and showed up out of nowhere and spent a week with us. And me being the person that I am, I didn't mind. I just saw a young man who wanted to hang out with his uncle or older cousin or whatever the case was, or whatever he was telling me was. So, of course, I'm never one to turn anybody away, or especially a child. So I was open arms, why not? Come on in, you can spend some time with us, hang out, whatever. I really don't remember his name. I can't remember his name to save my life, but I guess that's not really something I would share with you all anyway. So the day that all this happened, he had been with us for, I think the young man was actually going home that day, and we had just finished eating lunch, and I was headed upstairs to lay Jaden down for a nap when I was approached by my ex-husband to talk about something. And I was like, okay, what are we going to talk about here? What's going on? So what he wanted to talk to me about was this young man possibly moving in with us. And yeah, exactly. And at the time, like I said, I'm not one to turn anybody away. So I'm just Like, okay, you know what, how are we going to do this? Like, trying to figure out, you know, because according to my ex-husband, the young man had been going through some things, and, you know, where he was living wasn't like the best area. And, you know, his mother, who was quote unquote, I guess, my ex-husband's cousin, was having a hard time with him, and just, he didn't have a man in his life, and we were going to try and, I guess, help out. Or that's what the story, you know, that's what I got was. And yeah. And so I was like, okay, so that's not a problem, especially if I see someone in need. I'm going to try to help you. And if the young man needs some guidance, then why not? So I'm opening up my home to you. I don't know exactly the reason why I was asked this. I don't know if I was being tested or by my ex-husband, or he just wanted to. I'm not exactly sure, but it was the young man had overheard me say yes. That's fine. We need to figure out how we're going to get him, you know, situated, and I guess school stuff. And I was just like, where there's a will, there's a way, I guess. And if this young man needs help, then we're going to do what we have to do. Well, for whatever reason, my ex-husband got mad at that response. And I guess the young man was excited that, and he overheard me say yes, and he gave me a hug and was like, you know, really excited about that. And in the background, you know, I'm looking at my ex-husband like, what just happened? Like, I don't know, like, was I supposed to say no? I mean, I guess I was. But, you know, he should have known, me being the person that I am, I wasn't going to just turn that young man away like that. So he got upset, and the young man walked away, and the next thing I know, I'm pinned against the wall with my ex-husband had his hand, you know, on my throat and choking me and saying, asking me why I said yes, and did you know that he was standing there and he heard you, and, you know, just really random, like, weird stuff. And I was just like, well, if you wanted me to say no, you know, or you could have just said no, like, as if you didn't have that type of clout anyway. So I don't exactly, like, I'm still confused about that one. I don't even know why I was asked that. Maybe someone can enlighten me. But, I mean, especially if he was going to get mad about it. Like, why even ask me? Like, why not just say no without me even knowing? Anyway, so, yeah, so I remember that happening, and I remember him choking me and telling me, you know, not understanding, I guess, why I said yes, and why did you say yes, you know, asking me questions and going down the list of questions that he had for me, I guess, trying to make him choking me justified in some way. And I think at that point I was going to try to make it work, I guess, one more time, but I was already kind of like one foot out the door. But when the young man said that he needed help, I was going to try to help him and maybe stick around, which probably would have caused more harm than good in retrospect, but we would never know. And so I remember him telling him to get off of me, and, you know, just telling him, you know, basically, it's funny. So I completely can relate to Beyonce's Final Warning song on her Lemonade album. Like, dog, I gave you a warning. Like, I literally, at that moment, after he got his hands off of me, I pushed him away, and I said, you know, that will be the very last time that you ever put your hands on me again. If you do it again, we're done. He laughed. I guess he thought I was joking, or maybe he was just used to me just being around, and he didn't think I was ever going to walk away from him, or whatever the case may be. Whatever he thought wrong. So, needless to say, I guess, I mean, clearly I'm not with the guy now. So he ended up putting his hands on me again, not the same day, but like maybe a week or so later. When we were actually in our apartment. Or well, it was our apartment, but that's a long story too. I left and then I came back, and so it was like, I guess, our apartment, but his, because it was in his name, and we were going to try to make it work one more time, I guess, after that. Not after that incident where I warned him, but after I moved back. I actually was moving with my children to Georgia with my sister. We stayed there for a while. A few months. And I was finding some difficulty finding a job, and I was applying and just couldn't find anything. So I felt like more of a burden, I guess, than anything on her. And so we decided to kind of like come back here and I guess try to make it work. But it was in our apartment, and he got upset about my daughter doing something, and I wasn't watching, and as if I was the only parent in that situation. I guess he was too busy watching football. And I think she was playing with a toy and like hit her head, or something happened where she hurt herself. And babies, like little ones, fall. She was like 6 months at the time. She was probably trying to stand, or who knows what it was exactly that she was trying to do, but she ended up getting hurt, and he got upset and ended up pretty much doing the same thing that he did, pinning me to the wall again, like calling me names and calling me a bad mom and this and that. And that was the day. That was it. That was the last straw for me. I, at that very moment, packed my things, or what I could, packed my children's bag, got in my little minivan that I had at the time that was like barely hanging on, and I went to my parents' house and never came back. I left literally with the clothes on my back and my two girls in tow, and I never looked back, because it was bad enough that I stuck around for so long. I think we were together for like 7 years. But the fact that I gave you a warning, and you still kind of didn't take heed to it, and I like warned you that I was about to leave you. I think, and like I said before, I think because he was just so used to me being there, he didn't really think that I was going to, that he could just do whatever he wanted. But I had enough. I had had enough. And I think when a woman gets to that point where they're just fed up, there's really nothing you can do about it. Like, you can beg, you can plead, you can cry, which are all things that happened. And I wasn't trying to hear it. I was done. And I'm so glad that I was able to get out of that situation safely, because a lot of women don't. As I stated in my blog post about it, there are situations where some women just unfortunately can't and don't, they don't get away. And so I think that I'm very blessed, not lucky, blessed. God had a plan, and I think that it was just all part of the plan, and it helped me to grow as a person, the things that I've gone through, and it helps me to definitely a fighter now. Like, I think I'm a lot stronger than I used to be. I'm not saying that I was ever really weak, but I was just young and naive, I think. And it's still cold, by the way. Mickey Mouse. My son loves Mickey Mouse. Well, he used to. Now he's all into Paw Patrol. But I digress. So yeah, I think those things that happen, and that's why I always say what I say. Like, I want to be more of an open book, because I was talking to a friend of mine about another friend a couple of weeks ago who's going through like a similar situation, and she's actually out of this situation, thankfully, but she's hurting still. She feels, I think that a lot of women sometimes, and I went through this too. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't. Like, I'm going to make reference to another Beyonce song. What is the song where she goes, oh, the Ring the Alarm song. Ring the alarm. I've been through this too long, but I'll be damned if I see another chick on your arm. Yeah. Really? Like, it's almost kind of like I went through all that, and now I'm going to see somebody else reaping the benefits of whatever. What benefit? Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, benefits, I would say, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know how well he's doing in life right now, to be honest. But I think you get my point. So I think she's in that stage, and I just want her to know that being alone, being, healing from this, being with your daughters and helping them heal from it, especially if they're older, which I think one of them is, like my oldest daughter, she remembers certain things and bits and pieces, and we started the healing process together when I walked away, and she had questions and certain things, and a lot of people think that I was wrong for like answering her truthfully. But I've never been one to like hide anything from my kids. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're so close now. And hopefully we will remain that way. But anyway, back to my friend. So she's in that stage right now where I think she's, thinking that, oh man, like I've dealt with this for so long, and now some other girl, I think he's moved some other girl into the house, and she's reaping the benefits. But at the end of the day, don't forget, like, you're fresh out of a relationship with this guy. I'm pretty sure he hasn't changed much since then, and I feel bad for the young lady who's actually in that situation, taking your place right now. Be happy that you got away. Easier said than done for someone who's going through it, but I mean, I've been there, done that, and if I can do it, you can do it too. You just, self-love, it starts with self, and I know that for a fact. You have got to start loving yourself more and just nurturing you and healing. And once you start taking those steps, you just start blooming, and everything just becomes, beautiful. And not every day is going to be a perfect day, and you're going to be reminded of the abuse sometimes and question, oh, why did I deal with this? I can't believe I stayed for so long. You're going to go through those moments, but be proud that you walked away. Be proud and happy and thankful that you walked away with your life and your daughter's lives. Because I was able to, and very thankful to everyone who actually helped me get out of that situation. They didn't necessarily know the details at the time. It wasn't until years after that I actually opened up to my mom and told her a lot of the things that happened. But I think she knew some things, but not like everything. I think she knew that he wasn't the best guy, but I don't think she knew that I would, that he was, being abusive towards me. So, and that's pretty much it. So that was the day that I saved, in my eyes, not only my life, because, things happen. You never know what could have happened to me. I might not have been here to talk to you all today, or my daughters. So, again, if you find yourself in a situation like this, and I know easier said than done, and sometimes, that person might be the breadwinner of the family, and you feel like you have to stay with them because of that. You don't have anywhere to go. There's always somewhere to go. Like, just do it as safely as possible and get out, especially if you have little ones. I did it mainly for them. I didn't want my girls being raised around that, seeing me being abused and things like that, and mistreated and talked to any old way, because, chances are they would walk right into a relationship that's pretty similar, and I wasn't about to have that. And so I'm trying my best to prevent that. I'm trying my best to continue to show them how much I love me, and you know, pretty much preach self-love to them and the importance of the self-esteem and confidence, because without it, you can find yourself in situations like these. Even with it, you can find yourself in situations like these. But I know in my situation, it was definitely lack of self-esteem, lack of self-love, and yeah, maybe some other factors that maybe I'll talk about a little bit later. But for the most part, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So that is my story. Thank you for stopping by. It's a story about the day I saved my daughter's lives, and I truly, truly believe that I did, because even if he didn't intentionally hurt one of us really bad one day or possibly even kill us, freak accidents happen all the time. And one blow, you know, could have been a detrimental blow to one of us, any one of us. I mean, he could have been taking his anger out on my daughter or on me, and maybe my daughter got in the way, and, you know, instead of striking me, he striked her, and, you know, it was a life-threatening blow. Who knows what could have happened? I'm so thankful that it didn't, but, you know, things like that do happen. So just think of that when you're outweighing like your pros and cons. Should I leave? Should I stay? Always go with the one that's going to keep you and your baby safe, and more than likely that's leaving, especially if they're not changing. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, I'm going to work now. It's pretty early, but I need to get myself ready. So thanks for stopping by, and like, subscribe, comment below if you have anything to say or any comments. If you think if I've offended anybody by anything I said, that's not my intention. It never is. And so I do apologize. And have a blessed day. See you later.